As a reminder, Van Andel Arena is a non-smoking facility. In the event of an emergency, floor patrons may exit the floor via the aisles between your sections or at your point of entrance. Please note these locations prior to our event start. Thank you.
This is a little segment we call Philly on the Street. We're going to go talk to some new Lakers and see what they know about Grand Valley. Let's go.
Philly, 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 Philly on the street.
What's the name of our mascot? Hey guys, anybody want to get interviewed by the president? But do you know how big the freshman class is?
At least 300 plus, right?
A lot more than 300. Oh, and are you an alum?
No, I'm in preschool.
Do you know what a mortarboard is? What is a total freshman move you made when you began college?
Well, I still continue to do it, but getting lost in Mac every semester.
Hi. I'm your roommate.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, come say hello to your roommate. I'm Philly. Do you know what you're doing after graduation?
Probably moving in together.
Nice. What else?
Or not.
No? Have you heard any myths about Grand Valley?
Oh, yeah. Don't walk under, what is the blue arch?
The blue, yeah. Do you know the fight song?
Don't.
Fight, Grand Valley, fight.
Now get over here, because we're going to sing the fight song together.
Oh, no, I don't. We still need the wheels. Go! Fight! Fight! Fight!
What are your goals this year?
My goal is to get 4.0.
I want to bench 100 pounds.
Woohoo! I've been trying to find my celebrity look-alike today. What do you think?
Cher?
I'm liking it.
Share from what?
What advice would you give the Grand Valley State University president to make Grand Valley a better place?
Oh, get rid of those raccoons out there.
Well, I would say you're already the GOAT, which translates into greatest of all time.
I knew what the goat was.
How was your time at GVSU?
How did you get the microphone?
Wearing the color guard?
I'm trying. I have a lot to learn. Can you rescan here, please? No, I'm just kidding. I'm causing trouble, aren't I, officer? Thanks for volunteering today. I'm bringing you Lily to cheer you up in all your work.
She's doing her job.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, President G.
Yeah. Freshman? Yeah. And you know me?
Yes, I watch your videos on Instagram.
Do you know who the president is at Grand Valley? Yeah.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the May 2026 commencement ceremony for Grand Valley State University. Today, we celebrate the accomplishments of all our graduates. We ask that our audience of family and friends stay until the end of the ceremony to support and show respect for each of our graduates. Thank you.
Congratulations, graduates.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Lakers, and welcome to the alumni family.
Being a Laker for a lifetime is this really beautiful community that you are a part of. And there's a lot of pride around being a Laker.
Congratulations, you did it.
Now entering the arena, the distinguished faculty of Grand Valley State University. entering the arena, the platform officials of Grand Valley State University, including the senior leadership team, the college deans, the Board of Trustees, Provost Drake, and President Mantella. Please welcome Courtney Karzinski, Chair of University Academic Senate.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Grand Valley State University Commencement Ceremony. At a significant event like today's, we have an opportunity to offer appreciation to those who were stewards of the land on which our beautiful campuses were built, long before most of our ancestors arrived. We embrace our role as a leader in urgently advancing equity for all learners and ensure that our community serves as a catalyst for a more just and sustainable world. Grand Valley recognizes the Three Fires people, who include the Ojibwa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi, on whose ancestral lands we now live and work. President Mantella, our faculty, and the candidates for degrees are assembled. These commencement proceedings are now ready to begin. Today's ceremony takes months of planning and many people behind the scenes. We'd like to acknowledge all of the GVSU employees who have brought this commencement to life, and our many volunteers, including GVSU alum, some of whom are with us today from Grand Valley's first ever graduating class. Thank you to those who are donating their time to help today's ceremony run smoothly. We'd also like to recognize and honor the graduates and guests who are active duty service members and veterans joining us today, If you are able, please stand so that we may express our deepest gratitude for your service. Will all who are able please join them and rise for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please welcome President of Grand Valley State University, Philomena Mantella.
Please be seated. Can we thank our amazing and talented musician, Madeline, one more time? She was just great. Graduating Lakers, family and friends, faculty and staff, esteemed members of the Board of Trustees, Chair Beth Emmett and Trustee Jason Trice, and our honored guests, welcome. Class of 2026, this moment belongs to each and every one of you. Let's begin, as we do not take these journeys alone, recognizing the people in your lives who have steadied you, encouraged you, lifted you, and believed in you, even in the days that you didn't believe in yourself. Your parents, siblings, grandparents, partners, children, and friends. Graduates, would you stand? Take a moment to find your loved ones and give them a big thank you. Thank you, graduates. Now to you. You have also been shaped by the extraordinary faculty and staff of Grand Valley State University, people who teach not only with expertise, but with care, rigor, and a deep sense of purpose. Faculty and staff, would you please stand and face your graduates so they can acknowledge the role you've had in their success today? Thank you. Graduates, class of 2026, this is a remarkable moment, one defined by convergence. Today, you do not enter into an individual field, but in a world that is deeply interconnected. Health is powered by data, engineering is human-centered, computing is changing how we live, work, and connect. At Grand Valley, our people, place, and planet commitment calls us to ensure that this progress is grounded in ethics and integrity, our responsibility to one another and to the world that we share. The Blue Dot ecosystem that we are activating creates an opportunity with humans at the center to harness the power of science and technology to advance and solve problems. Futurist Amy Webb describes this era as a time where technologies are not just advancing, they are colliding, they are amplifying one another, and they are reshaping every aspect of our lives. And in that convergence, she challenges us to ask not just what we can do, but what we should do. That question, graduates, now belongs to each of you. Because while technology is accelerating, humanity must lead. Science and big data can advance disease diagnosis, but it is your compassion that will define care. Engineering can advance mobility, but it is your judgment that will ensure safety. Access to open data and AI can predict outcomes at scale, but it is your sense of integrity and your sense of equity that will guide how it's used. And in each of these moments, you will have a choice about how you apply what you know, a choice about what you value, a choice about what you create, a choice about the kind of future you build for yourself and everyone around you, near and far. Your Grand Valley education has prepared you for this moment, not just with knowledge, but with purpose. You've learned to think across disciplines. You've learned to collaborate, to lead with both curiosity and creativity. As you move forward, hold fast to this. Let humanity be your North Star, because the world does not simply need more advancements. It needs leaders who make choices, and that these choices elevate the human experience. Graduates, you are not just entering your future, you are shaping it. Congratulations to the class of 2026. We are so proud of you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jenny Hall-Jones, and I have the pleasure of serving all of our students as the Vice President of Student Affairs. I am so pleased to be here with you to celebrate you, our next alumni. It is my honor this afternoon to introduce our student commencement speaker, Sarah Dudenitz. Hello. Come on. Hey. Sarah actually graduated this morning with a master's in business administration, and she got her MBA while working full-time at Grand Valley. So let's give it up for my friend and colleague, Sarah.
What does it mean to be a Laker? I'm sure we would all have our own definitions, but this is mine. To be a Laker is to be resilient. Graduates, when you reflect on your time at GVSU, I am sure that you too can remember times where you had to be resilient. For me, there was my first tour of GVSU in 2013, where I could hardly see campus at all through a wall of snow because we decided to visit during a blizzard. Then there were the finals week all-nighters that left me deliriously exhausted, the financial management class that I was positive I would not survive, or perhaps at the top of the list, the time that I graduated with my bachelor's degree at the start of the COVID pandemic. And in the past 2 years, I've seen this Laker resilience on full display through my incredible MBA cohort. We have seen each other through many highs and many lows that you guys may have experienced as well. There's been exciting moments, things like new jobs, engagements, becoming parents for the first time. And there's been some not so exciting moments, grieving the loss of a loved one, or facing the blindsided feeling of being let go from a job that they loved. If there is one thing I have learned from them, it is this. Where I used to think resilience was all about how hard I could push forward on my own, I've learned that it is much easier to be resilient when you are not doing it alone. And on behalf of the class of 2026, to the family, friends, and supporters who are here and joining us online, thank you. You are a part of our stories and our resilience, and we could not have made it here without you. On that same note, I am lucky enough to work alongside our faculty, staff, and the leadership team sitting behind me. Let me tell you, graduates, beyond a shadow of a doubt, their support of you will not end after you walk this stage. Wherever you go, your Laker community is a safety net that will catch you when you need it the most. Now, you may have heard Grand Valley's new tagline, turning what if into what is. I think it perfectly captures the transformation that took place for each of us in our time here. Because that's what Lakers do, right? Each of us will walk out these doors and make the world a better place. Not just when it's easy, not just when it's comfortable, but when it truly matters. By turning our challenges into our triumphs, our questions into our confidence, and our roadblocks into our resilience. Class of 2026, I am so proud of you. The road to get here probably was not easy, and unfortunately, the one thing I can promise you is that the road ahead will not be easy either. So lean on one another, lean on what you have learned and the skills that you have developed in your time here. Being a Laker does not mean the road will be easy, but it means that you are ready for it. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2026.
People come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is
Thank you once again to our wonderful musicians, Hannah, Madeline, and Brianna, and thank you to Sarah, our student speaker, for your inspiring words. One more round of applause for all our students. So proud of you. Today, I am pleased to confer an honorary degree. Honorary degrees are a distinction of the highest order made to an individual who has achieved eminence in their profession while rendering distinguished service to our society. We celebrate them as an embodiment of our university's values and as a source of inspiration for you graduates. And that's why I am so proud to present an honorary degree to Judy Faulkner, founder and CEO of EPIC. Participating in the conferral of the honorary degree tonight is Tina Fries-Decker, President and CEO of Conferral Health, an extraordinary leader whose work is shaping the future of healthcare in our region and well beyond. The relationship between Conferral Health and Grand Valley is a powerful example of what happens when education and healthcare come together with a shared purpose. Through initiatives like the Conferral Health Nursing Scholars Program, we are expanding access to education, strengthening the healthcare workforce, and opening doors to students to lead and serve in meaningful ways. It is fitting then that as we honor Judy Faulkner today, that Tina will help us hood her. Judy is a visionary leader whose work has transformed healthcare and redefined what is possible at the intersection of technology and human well-being. As founder and CEO of EPIC, she has dedicated her career to building systems that connect patients, providers, and information, helping make healthcare more coordinated, more informed, and more compassionate. Through her leadership, EPIC has become the cornerstone of the modern healthcare infrastructure, supporting millions of patients and caregivers worldwide. What makes Judy's impact so powerful is not just the technology, it is the purpose behind it. She has remained absolutely steadfast in her belief that innovation must serve people. The data must empower better decisions, and that even the most advanced systems must center the human experience. Her work reflects that very convergence that we are advancing here at Grand Valley, where health, technology, and education come together to improve lives and strengthen communities. It is a powerful example for our graduates of what it means to lead with vision, with integrity, and with a deep sense of purpose. Today, we award her an honorary Doctor of Health Administration degree as an acknowledgement of her extraordinary contributions to healthcare and her enduring impact on how care is delivered and experienced. At this time, I invite degree recipient Judy Faulkner, Tina Fries-Decker, Trustee Emmett, and Provost Drake to join me for the conferring of the honorary degree. Right up here. Now, therefore, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Health Administration, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges. Congratulations, Judy. We're going to do a picture right here. Let's put Tina in there. During last night's ceremony, we conferred our inaugural Honorary Doctor of Computing degree to Steve Wozniak, recognizing his extraordinary contributions to computing, innovation, and expanding access to education and technology. Just 2 years ago, we created a standalone College of Computing and recently approved our first PhD at Grand Valley, a PhD in computing. This marks another significant step forward in advancing innovation, research, and talent development in this critical field. It reflects our belief that the future of computing is not about technological advancement alone. It's about empowering people, strengthening communities, and opening doors to opportunity, values that resonate deeply with Steve's life's work.
He helped spark the personal computer revolution, turning what if into what is. A Silicon Valley pioneer and co-founder of Apple, Steve Wozniak designed the Apple I and Apple II, bringing computing out of the lab and into everyday life. A National Medal of Technology recipient, inventor, educator, and philanthropist, Wozniak's legacy reflects the power of curiosity, creativity, and innovation to change the world. Today, we welcome an innovator who proved that curiosity can change the future. Steve Wozniak.
As you've seen, Steve, co-founder of Apple Computer, is not only a brilliant engineer, but a passionate advocate for using technology to open doors, expand opportunity, and give back in meaningful ways. It's in that spirit of giving back that you'll notice as you came in today, commemorative merchandise available, with proceeds supporting the Inspiring Children's Foundation, an organization close to Steve and Janet's heart that is making a meaningful difference in the lives of young people. We are especially grateful that Steve has joined us as our commencement speaker for all 3 ceremonies, and that his wife Janet has been here alongside of him. Thank you both for your generosity of time and spirit with our graduates and families. At this time, it is my honor to invite Steve Wozniak to deliver the commencement address.
Yeah, it's worth complimenting Judy on her epic work. And I was just joking with you when earlier I said, I believe in health so much, I make sure I see a doctor at least once a decade. Well, you know, commencement or graduation, look at it 2 ways. Graduation for all the work, 16 years or more putting into getting this far, to getting to this point. And all along the way, you wonder, where am I really headed? And commencement means you're starting something new. You're commencing. And that's very important to think, where am I going in life? Because not everybody really knows. I mean, I even remember getting out of college, I was thankful to be young, because young, you have a mind that can think so much, and you have a body that can stay up late at night drinking Coke to get projects done, not to mention all-nighters in school. So where are we going? When am I going to find the life I want, the person I want to share it with? When am I going to find my career? And when am I going to become, how important am I going to become? Or do I care? What's my personality? I was listening to a U2 song the other day. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. It's very memorable. I like it when songs give me feelings and emotions that I'm having inside. I'm an engineer. What is engineering? How did I become an engineer? When I was very, very young, like 8 years old, 7 years old, my father, I asked him, what do engineers do? He was an engineer. He said they build things, bridges and buildings and all that, but engineers also make appliances for the home that used to be hand labor, like washing dishes. And now we have a dishwasher, and washing machines. And I said, I'm going to be an engineer because I'll be helping average people in average homes, the normal people. And they became very important to me my entire life. And I definitely, when it came time for the start of personal computing, computers were big, huge things, or they were even smaller things, but nobody could afford it or it wasn't useful. I wanted to make that kind of device. Taught myself. Didn't learn computing in university or school. How do you design computers? There were no books. There were no magazines in magazine stores. Back then, it was so ancient ago. And all the computers, they had big front panels and switches and lights and geeky. Nobody would think you'd ever get close to them. And they were like more further out than rocket scientist stuff. And but I started picking up little clues, things built on logic gates. Logic gates are like lumber. And an architecture of a computer is like an architecture of a building. And I started working on paper, trying to figure out how to make bigger and bigger things out of these little elementary school science fair projects I did. I was very advanced in electronics and digital. What's electronics? Many of you don't know these days. Electronics was all mathematics, how electrons would flow through certain devices, and you could make radios and televisions out of it. So that was the old analog electronics, and I was very skilled at that. You know, I knew how TVs were built inside and could design them with differential calculus. But some accidents, a little accident, I was down at Atari designing Breakout, no sleep for 4 days and nights. And I thought, what if these arcade games, Atari was starting an industry, the industry of arcade games. You think you know what arcade games are today. Back then, I looked at them, I said, wouldn't it be neat if someday these games are in color, not black and white. This is ancient times. And but I saw Pong in a bowling alley, and I said, oh my gosh, I've been teaching myself to design computer processors, but the input-output is the hardest. Use a TV as the output device. I knew how TVs worked, and I could unscrew the back of my TV and scope around and find the right signal point and send the right signals in to make balls and paddles on a screen. I designed Breakout for Atari, by the way. And so games were a big start for me. But I thought, wouldn't they be color? And here's what happens to your mind when you're a lot of time without sleep. Your mind is kind of going off into these weird places that are out of the box. So I thought, what is color on a TV? And color on TV back then was a little wire with voltages, and the voltages might go up and down like a sine wave, up and down at the right speed and the right timing, be a red dot on your TV. And then I said, and there was a whole mathematics of all these complicated, expensive parts and, you know, maybe $5,000 or more parts, you know, to build it and all the time to design it with mathematics. And then I said, my head wandered. I said, what if I took a little number out of my computer? Computer numbers are ones and zeros. Ones can be plus, zeros can be minus. And if you put this computer number on the wire into the TV, every TV, I knew how they were designed. They would think it was color, even though it violated all the rules. Okay, you have to, some people let their minds go off in these other directions, you know, and some people just say, no, the rules are the rules, the engineering is the engineering. But some people want to be inventors. And that was really the reason our first logo at Apple was 5 colors. I told my dad when I was 6 years old, I'd be an electrical engineer like he, but the second I would be a 5th grade teacher, like Miss Scrap. You put these things into your core values. And eventually, of course, when I had kids and I was kind of like a school mom, hanging around the schools, I did start teaching 5th graders. For 8 years, no press allowed. So you might not even hear about it. I didn't want the press near students. And we had the most fun classes ever. I learned it's less important that you teach realistic, knowledge. Knowledge is one thing. Every teacher speaks, every sentence is knowledge. But if you can motivate, get the kids, if they want to learn, they're going to find every answer and enjoy doing it and love doing it. So we made my classes very special. I've always believed that everything you do that's productive should have an element of humor. Things that are fun with it. You should enjoy life. Right now, my wife and I enjoy every single day together. We are so lucky. And today's our anniversary. My design principles were to make things with fewer parts and simpler, easier to understand. And my gosh, I don't want to do subtraction and division to figure out how many years we're married when people ask. So we just celebrate every single day as an anniversary. And today is 6,476 days. All we have to do is count. And I also told my dad when I got really good at designing computers on paper, I could never afford a single part. But I sort of had books showing little logic elements and ways to draw pictures of them and make something complicated like an ad or eventually a computer. I started designing computers. How do you get a design of a computer? What's in it? A manual. There were no manuals. There were nothing like that in the bookstore. I'd go to the scientific bookstore in Palo Alto, Kepler's, and nothing on computers. And I wanted to learn more and more and design them. But so you think, my gosh, those were long times ago. But I started how do you get the manual that describes a computer so you can sit down on paper and design what would make it? The top physics research place in the world then was Stanford Linear Accelerator Center. Okay? It was like CERN today. And the smartest people in the world don't lock doors. Take that as a metaphor. They don't lock doors. I could drive in on a Sunday to Slack, and the main building, there'd always be at least one door unlocked, and I could get in. They had a library with the most exhaustive computer and technical information in the world, and it was really great. So I'd get a design of all the IBM computers, Varian computers, digital equipment computers, data general computer, and more. And I would just sit down on the weekends in my room at home. I was shy. I didn't have any friends to do things with. I would sit there and just design computers over and over and over, simplifying them, as I said. So I told my dad in high school or my first year of college, I told him, I'm going to own a 4K Data General Nova computer. Why 4K? 4K was the absolute minimum. You could have an idea you wanted to solve, and you could type in a program. 4K was the minimum. Why Data General? They had an architecture. It wasn't like somebody designed an architecture of a computer and then we'll hire the lumbers to go build it. No, somebody who knew all the parts, who was a builder, a constructor, designed for the best chips that were available, the best organization of the cheapest chips, up to an architecture, and it turned out as good as all the other mini computers coming out, but half as many parts. So I told my dad, I'm going to have this computer, and he said, it costs as much as a house. I shut up, and I said, I'll live in an apartment. Someday in my life, this was a deep core value to have a computer because I knew how they worked. And what you know how to do is what you call a value for the world. I kept that in. I eventually wanted to have my own computer and would. Around the time, we got into a group of people that were saying these small little microprocessor chips are going to make affordable computers possible. Not necessarily good affordable computers that could really do a job, like even write a program. But they were always trying to start companies based on the old idea of computer architecture. And I had built that machine of my own 5 years before. I was now working at Hewlett Packard on the hottest products of the world. And I didn't have a college degree, but I knew all the answers, so that's what mattered. And no, it's really interesting. They called me in for interviews. I could answer anything about computers. I didn't need to have the college degree. I had 3 years done. So I went to Hewlett Packard designing all this stuff, but I love doing these things. I love designing. So I would do designs for people all over the country. A guy came in from Hollywood, wanted to build the first system ever with movies in a hotel room. Never been done before. And so I did it for him. I got to do it, and I would charge 5 cents. It's just sort of telling myself I'm doing it for the love of it. I loved typing in those old days of real typewriters, and I would type term papers from midnight till 6 in the morning for strangers that I'd never see again. And I just charged 5 cents, and I was so proud of what I was doing. I would tutor classes in advanced mathematics, and 5 cents is the charge. So that was a life I led. But so I was doing that, and a club started up. Now, Steve Jobs, I'd met Steve Jobs 5 years before, but he was out of town at some commune up in Oregon. And this club it's now called the Homebrew Computer Club, but it was started up, and I thought, I'll show off this thing I invented to type to the ARPANET. I can type on a keyboard that was ungodly expensive back then, and I could see it on my TV set and send signals over a phone line to a thing called the ARPANET. Today, it's called the Internet. Back then, there were only 6 computers on the ARPANET. 6 universities, UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, MIT, and some others. And I could get on, I could read files, and I could play games and run programs. This was so incredible. So I took my little device down to the club thinking, this club is starting for people that are into terminals and electronics, and I'll show it off. Oh, no. They were interested in this little thing called a computer. Little box with switches and lights on the front, just like I built 5 years before. And it was really way too expensive for a human being to use as a computer for things useful. There's reasons I can't get into right now. So I went there and I was inspired by professors from Stanford, from Berkeley, talking about how society was going to change, that once we had instant communication and education would be so much better because students could get a response, right or wrong, to an answer immediately instead of having to wait 12 hours. If a dog poops on the floor, you don't slap it on the head 12 hours later, or it doesn't learn, it gets confused. Why am I being slapped? Immediacy of reward and punishment is necessary, operant conditioning, Pavlov stuff. So, so anyway, and the geek who knew computers in our club, who knew what computers were, knew how to use them or something, was going to be an important person in our club. So I designed that first computer. Steve Jobs wasn't around, and you could type on a keyboard and see the computer output on a video screen. My own TV, had to unscrew the back and run cables in, knew where to put them. And I would type in, and I'd start writing a computer language, and it would run programs. And Bill Gates was coming out that time. He had a basic language, programming language for the Intel processor, but I had a different processor based on my own programming desires. I had a better one in my mind. So I'm writing a basic, because you got to have basic. Why? There's books and stories about basic playing games. If people are going to have computers in their homes, they're going to want to play games. You better play good games. And so I gave away my designs, no copyright notices, open source, public domain, build your own. Some people in our club built my computer, and I helped others build it. Then is when Steve Jobs came into town to see it. And it's unlike that movie with Ashton Kutcher where Jobs finds me as a geek in a basement and hauls me down to the club. I'd been to every club meeting since it started. Steve Jobs had never been to one. I took him. That's the story. And I said, look at all the interest, these people looking over my shoulder. Every computer before that one had a big front panel with switches and lights, and every computer after that would have a keyboard and a video display. It was a change in the world, and I gave it away, didn't own it or anything. Steve said we should start a company. I said, one little problem. I'm going to be an engineer for life at my company, Hewlett Packard, which I love. I'm loyal. I'm a loyal Laker now. And you know, some of you believe that that's, you know, it's really important to think that way. So I was going to be an engineer for life because Hewlett Packard was full of engineers, and you didn't have to go up the org chart. I wouldn't go up the org chart because to me it was kind of like politics, and I was non-political. I wouldn't even vote. I came to that conclusion between 18 20 years old during another war. And anyway, I proposed it to Hewlett Packard. I had to propose it to Hewlett Packard. And they had marketing people, engineering people. I described what it would cost, how it would work, and showed them what I had. And they turned me down for the first of 5 times. Hewlett Packard turned down the personal computer 5 times. All the other big computer companies said this was going to be nothing, just a little hobbyist movement, not worth much money. And I didn't really care about money. I didn't want to start Apple to get rich or to start a company or to start an industry. I did want my computer to get out. I wanted to start this company so that other engineers would see the incredible things I was doing that was so far ahead of the world. And I got that over time. I got the respect from engineering groups. Anyway, when you come from zero and you have no money, I could never raise my hand in the club to talk. I couldn't talk to people. I'm afraid of confrontation when I'm shy. So I would set up my television and my keyboard after the main meeting, and other people would see it. Whoa, and they looked at it. Every computer since then had a keyboard and a video display. And meanwhile, before that computer was done, that was the one Steve Jobs saw, and we marketed it as an Apple I. But it really wasn't designed as a computer. I had a little terminal to talk to the ARPANET and modified it into a computer by putting in the brains, microprocessor, and the right kind of memory. And but before we ever shipped one of those, I had my Apple II. That's the color machine I've been thinking about. The Apple II was just a computer, simple computer in a little simple language called BASIC that 9-year-olds could use. You could cross colors and lines on the screen, and you could write a program for an arcade game. Back at Atari, arcade games were 150 chips and 1,000 wires, and engineers like me getting all the right signals on the wires. It'd take up to a man-year to create a new game. And all of a sudden, a 9-year-old could do it in one night, a decent game on the Apple II computer. First time ever arcade games were color. That was a big step for gaming. It's the reason that product was our only source of revenue for the first 10 years of Apple. Moving up the org chart, our Apple III failed, our Lisa failed, and I know the reasons, but I'm not going to get into them right now. And the Macintosh was our hardest failure of all. Boy, we had to move quick to save the company. Anyway, when Steve and I talked about having a company, we wanted to use technology to make handicapped people equal to normal people. A blind person and a sighted person. We wanted to make them more equal. Look how we've succeeded. Everywhere you go, look at the sidewalk. Look over on the sidewalk. Everybody's walking around looking at their iPhone, bumping into things. The sighted and the blind. Okay, whenever you start a company, starting companies is the greatest thing in the world, entrepreneurship. That's where new wealth comes from, not just replacing the wealth, not the zero-sum games. And you want to be good to others. So when I was young thinking, I read an article in a magazine, kind of my first year of college. And I was sitting in the hallway, and it was about a man named Sumner Redstone, CEO of Viacom. And he was flying in and out of cities every day. He was buying or selling a company for $500 million of today's dollars. And I thought, whoa, would it be something to have that much power over wealth? But I stopped and I said, no. When I die, I'd much rather be laughing about a prank my friends and I played. So I said, for me, life is not about accomplishment, it's about happiness. What is my formula for happiness? Happiness equals smiles minus frowns. S minus F. These are feelings. How do you have smiles? Oh, make jokes, play jokes, laugh at jokes, go to things you enjoy, music concerts and sports events. In a lot of ways, but you have to actually try. If you don't try, it doesn't happen. And how do you get rid of frowns? Happiness equals smiles minus frowns. First, I started out, well, if somebody dents your car or steals your TV or something, you're just going to take constructive steps to replace it, to get it fixed. And later on, I decided, no. Also, don't argue. Don't argue with somebody. I got my set of reasoning that comes to one conclusion. You got your set of reasoning that comes to another conclusion. We both have sets of reasoning. We both have computers in our mind, and we're both good. So just don't argue. It led me to the belief that if someone is bad to you, you're good to them. Always be good to everyone. And I've never had an argument with people in my life, no matter what, the press might try to portray sometimes. It's just, I was too scared, actually, to have to deal with people and be in conflicts. Now, AI is the big term today. And there's so many ways. You can't go and you take an hour to speak about AI fully. But you all have AI. You all have AI. Actual intelligence. My entire life in the technical world, I've been following people that were trying to figure out how to make a brain, software or hardware, synapse chips. And I was at a company where the engineers figured out how to make a brain. It takes 9 months. Anyway, what you go on and do, startup companies, doing new things that hadn't been done before, are just the heart and soul. It's what I love so much. The excitement, it forces you to work day and night, 20 hours a day, and the hardest work in your life. But when you're successful, it is the biggest joy, even if you're not successful, biggest joy you ever had looking back. The day you die, you're not going to remember things you learned in your class, formulas and all that. What you're going to remember is the good times you had doing things with other people, enjoying, anything in life. So, anyway, what you do doesn't have to be solely for money. You can try to be good, at least for a while. It's really harder. Judy's company isn't public, and I'm so proud of that. So once you have a public company, you go public, all of us who buy shares of stock, we only want one thing, stock up or down. We don't care how good the company is. But the founders can actually have a role. This is how my company's going to be, what it's going to do, and why it's going to do it. And And you could all be like that if you wanted. You should program yourself. The thing is, when I went back to college to get my degree, after an airplane crash, I went back under a fake name, and my diploma says Rocky Raccoon Clark. Always have fun. But I went back as a psychology major. I really did want to understand workings of the head, and you know, and how does it come close, and what is memory? All I found out is we don't really know the head like we know circuits of electronics. And where are your memories stored? Think you know? Nobody knows. All the finest books of memory back then, 40-some years ago, and now. The strongest statement about where memory might be, I came up with 40-some years ago, and nobody would listen to it. It was sort of a joke to say we don't know where memories are. Our best theory is it's holographic because we can't find a place for it. But what I came up with was between the ages of 6 and 10, you lose two things: your childhood autobiographic memories and your teeth. And that was to make a joke. That teeth, we know memories aren't teeth. Nowadays, though, go use a search engine. I don't use the G word. And go use a search engine and look up teeth and memories. Be shocked what you find. And the test for Alzheimer's, gum and saliva. Your gums and saliva. So, you know, where you go from here. If you ever get lucky enough to be involved in a position in an ongoing company or starting your own little company, and you might have ideas. If your ideas are better than others, absolutely go for the excellence. Don't just go to get something done. I used to have homework assigned to me, even in high school mathematics. I was a math whiz. And they signed, do the problems 1 to 37, odd problems. Oh, no, I would do 1 to 50 because I love doing it. It's just like all those 5-cent things. If you love doing something, you can put yourself into it. You are young and you have the physical energy and the mental energy and can get great things done if you don't throw away your time that you could be putting into an incredible future for yourself and for the world. And I wish you all luck with your degrees.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much, Steve, for your message to our graduates today. I'm Jennifer Drake, the Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I have the privilege of serving all the faculty who serve all our students. I'm so pleased to be with you. Now let's move to the moment you've been waiting for, the degree conferral of our graduating class of 2026. Congratulations on your hard work, your perseverance, and all your achievements that have brought you to this moment. Will all candidates who are receiving a doctoral degree please stand? Thank you. And please remain standing. Will all candidates receiving a specialist or master's degree please stand? Thank you, and please remain standing. Now, will all candidates who are here today to receive their bachelor's degrees please stand? These are our 2026 graduating Lakers. Madam President, these candidates have successfully fulfilled the requirements of the Grand Valley State University curriculum. With the approval of the faculty, they are now presented to you to receive the appropriate degree.
Exercising the authority of the Board of Trustees of Grand Valley State University, legally vested by the state of Michigan, and acting on behalf of the faculty of Grand Valley State University, I now proudly confer upon you who have fulfilled the appropriate requirements for a graduate or undergraduate degree. With this degree comes not only new opportunities, but also the responsibility to carry forward with the values and knowledge you've gained here. To mark this achievement, you will now walk across the stage and receive your diploma.
You may now be seated until ushered forward.
Good afternoon. I'm Associate Dean Catherine Moran, and I am so proud of all of our Laker nursing graduates here this afternoon. Also joining us on stage to help us congratulate our graduate students is Erica Hamilton, Vice Provost for Distributive Learning and the Dean of the Graduate School. To our graduates, you graduate as nurses, as nurse practitioners, into the most trusted profession in the United States, not just with knowledge, but with the power to change lives, armed with scientific evidence and guided by integrity, empathy, and compassion. We are so very proud of you. Will the Marshal now present all candidates from the Kirkhof College of Nursing to receive their diplomas.
Brianna Hutchinson. Julia Treme. Holly Cole. Laura Lee Gute. Katie Monicati. Ashley Lewis. Sarah Sproul. Ashley Alcala. Emina Chelovich. Heath Lamb. Sarah King. Jocelyn Lipka. Amrit Kaur. Maria Mauer. Sarah Detman. Heather Lewis. Alyssa Peterson. William Serrano. Kristen Khaled Tavalieri. Tanya Wanacott. Eseogene Oju. Elise Naidu. Michael Wynn.
Please join me in congratulating the Doctor of Nursing Practice graduates from the Kirkhof College of Nursing.
Emily Bochar. Chelsea Standler. Olivia Stoker. Anna Whipple. Lily Mendez. Zoe Jean Dykstra. Skylar Renee Leatherman. Lainey Jane Pavlov. Sophia Curtis. Quinn Disbrow. Abigail Werner. Catherine Ostoin. Emma Spires. Emma Taylor. Leslie Ochoa. Brianna King. Sydney Gartrell. Melissa Stewart. Amy Pena. Jasmine Williams. Crystal Beaucamp. Carmen Oliarchek. Elizabeth Van Kamen. Serenity Johnson. Kenton Vander Wall. Ellie Flores. Finley Kistler. Michaela Lancaster. Ty Burfield. Stella Thompson. Allison Jones. Avery Hickok. Jordan Lamb. Jessica Jamia. Lauro Maui. Lisbeth Barnall Ponce. Hannah Gunnis. Kiara Dore. Lucas Malloy. Griffin Barnes. David Carey. Andrew Nisbet. Justin Tung. Sebastian Orzami. Harrison Smalley. Tegan Vanderclock. Raylan Thompson. Nicholas Polega. Ashley McFadden. Safines Karim. Sydney Minnie. Derica Huyn. Carly Kenny. Michaela Campbell. Natalie Bernard. Carmel Pierre. Evans Kiprono. Ella Fogelsonger. Tegan Hemmerly. Audrey Bates. Ella Farkas. Olivia Desnider. Olivia Hendry. Madison Hoffaker. Grace Zalewski. Carrie Bages. Danielle Davidson. Mackenzie Morse. Kennedy Nepper. Brooklyn Coit. Caitlin Strand. Jessica Pysick. Marie Lafond. Renee Sheldon. Nia Yost. Catherine Smith. Alma Chavez. Hannity von Valkenburg. Megan Kendall. Megan Moffett. Mallory Wright. Sydney Prime. Patrick Fisher. Ermelinda Perez. Danae Thorpe. Leah Garrison. Siddhartha Paudel. Faith Simon. Rachel Noreen. Lily Nightcamp. Rachel Vroegop. Angelina Keitzer. Kara Borgerson. Chloe Ernsberger. Julia Dillenbeck. Haley Atkins. Hannah Smith. Genevieve Grippentrog. Brett Evans. Cassandra Waldron. Rebecca Deere. Delaney McCormick. Fartun Eskinder Alamayahu. Sophie Decker.
Please join me in congratulating the graduates from the Kirkhof College of Nursing.
Good afternoon. I am Interim Dean Donovan Anderson, and I'm excited to join you in this important event. The graduates from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences are ready for this next step in their journey as they continue to pursue knowledge, to engage as global citizens, and to make a positive impact in their communities. Will the Marshal now present all candidates from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences to receive their diplomas.
Amira Wilson. Maria Widman. Tafadzwa Kundai Chiduma.
Asha Rava Glenn.
Sean Sneed. Lucy Groteis. Camila Duarte. Molly Kunzen. Sequoia Drilling. Malavika Ravuri. Samantha Brown. Flavia Marcello. Rachel Conklin. Gabriela Barajas. Rachel Reisdijk. Anna Huberts. Erin Trimpey. Emily Eberly. Ava Sweeney. Brody Glye. Benjamin Howard. Ruth Crabtree. Kaylee Sheridan. Katie Swiderick, Kerrigan Sherrick, Lainey Meter, Ilana Sanchez, Hannah Soreski, Nina Crochanzi, Lauren Hellman, Montana Polzine, Thomas McNett Trombley, Jaden Isola, Hannah Mead, Avery Mead, Anna De La Fuente, Addison Bryan, Josie Coleman, John Gargis, Jacob Han DeWeerd, Neely Andrews, Abby Valentine, Yisel Mora, Kenley West Wing, Christiana Rosa,
Navia Sai Reddy Gore,
Lakshmi Sravya Gore,
Maheswar Reddy Peram, Vamsi Paturi, Mahesh Thakilapati,
Tejeshwar Telari, Madison Grebe, Nicole DeVries, Hayden Trowbridge, Caroline Ford, Matt Aragoni, Louis Cusino, Sabrina Barrett,
Jaden Shipthan,
Rajasri Tumula, Samantha Lamantia, Sydney Camps, Rita Badarai, Bunny Tesmer,
Nathan Edwards,
Elena Hartford, Chloe Avila, Lacey Hoffman, Anika Robins, Madeline Sanders, Nevea Demuth, Kennedy Heiss, Isabella Juliana Schliefka McHetty, Colin Bright, Abigail Van Norwick, Cassidy Mott, Diaria Martin, Brian Tran, Megan Sly, Shayna Davis, Lauren Cold, Naima M. Contreras, Maisie Smith, Samantha Hudson, Denis Zamarayev, Zachary Stevens, Neela Morin, Bailey Westervelt, Lorraine Tarnish, Lucas Plensner, Alexander Schrager, Malia Scott, Gabriella Coons, Lauren Bloomfield,
Sean Madsen,
Marissa Reynolds, Micah Mallory, Kira Belcher, Emma Volok, Lexi Girth, Jordan Kenny, Fiona Mitchell, Alyssa Cassie, Hayden Rodebeck, Diamond Payne, Hannah Wilson, Emma Bourgeois, Max Buffkin, Haley Hentz, Evan Mulder, Gabriel Dansero, Eileen Torres, Olivia Kroc, Alan Deslatic, Olivia Palazzolo, Carly Fahey, Sophia Scheuer, Alyssa Quiggin, Jonathan Williams, Allison Luck, Chris Thomas II, Grace Tappy, Selena Gaffey, Thomas Saplatol, Nathan Sullivan, Matthew Adato, Tyler Klein, Caden Beck Kushner, Andrew Gwilliams, Charlie Cooley, Savannah Reed, Ashlyn Mendelson, Caitlin Yeager, Madeline Dickinson, Abigail Boltice, Sophia Magan, Adam Zura, Owen Nicholson, Arabella Dorado, Vivian Al Sadi, Sydney McLean, Madison Spencer, Sarah Ort, Austin Van Putten, Callie Capling Pachette, Eleanor Edlund, Alicia Sweezy, Aya Name, Elena Stulagros, Jenna Kopich, Jaden Shuey, Hayden Edelberg, Sophie Wagnon, Diego Stork, Logan Corion, Madison Walcott, Jalen Jacob, Miralee Kuhlman, Noah Valentine, Michael Baldus,
Emily Shaner,
Audrey Steele, Elise Duttler, Isabel Parks, Jenna Ulrich, Gracie Beechnaw, AJ Dykema Karras, Eliana Bailey, Laura Renee Ray, Garrett Nickel, Delaney Augusta, Sierra Papa, Carol Haynes, Sydney Oakes, Brinley Benoit, Taylor Semple, Layla Sella, Claire Phillips, Grant George, Remus Carmagno, Isaiah Crockett, Zoe Ellis, Marshall Nicholson, Jason Krager, Matthew David Youthy, Aiden Rouse, Devin Barbier, Laura Hernandez, Kate Roloff, Lucy Veenstra, Nicole Parthen, Jaden Tenbrookie, Aubriana Lynn Ahola, Claire Rockefeller, Lauren Riley, Carissa Moeller, Madison Burns, Jersey Still, Autumn Sims, Sarah Seetsema, Haley Joan Powers, Savannah Miller, Marissa Feel, McKenna Jones, Emma Graham, Joshua Summers, Gabriella Pesci, Kaylee Kronk, Emma Wolverton, Emmett O'Malley, Chloe Veenstra, Ryan Ganyu, Kate Fox, Megan Elise Myers,
Noelle Jankowiak,
Miranda Willer, Chad Britton, Noah Greiner, Alexa Edwards, Jordan Zack, Maxwell Bishop, Jack Wellman, Olivia Bates, An Thien Huang, Megan Sager, Justin Chiodini, Luke Hulsman, Caden Steinebach,
Isabel Williams,
Bree DeLang, Delaney Morin, Peyton Redditch, Jason Sackfield, Benjamin Goyette, Will Stedjink, Molly McGuire, Tole, Tejaswini Bala, Erica Smythe, Jacqueline Adama, Sierra Keenan, Allison Doyen, Mackenzie Johnson, Avery Zeenstra, Connor Chambers, Robert Dean, Evelyn Grant,
Blake Kamahiva,
Selma El Jabouri, Genevieve Frechette, Anthony Samora, Chloe Trinity, Brooke DiDonato, Samantha Musia, Jennifer Wadsworth Bushy, Julianne Olson, Olivia Cross, Maxwell Duttler, Anna Trebilcock, Ella Shane, Gage Kesson, Madeline Pinkham, Jacob Mertes, Anthony Corpus, Elena DeRose, Nicholas Miller, Teresa Barrett, Stacy Apeening, Adela Klink, Jasmine Ray Daly, Lillian Furch, Natalie Delmati, Teresa Sines, Haley Rosendale, Eliana Weinert, Sarah Wolter, Bryn Bushley, Madison Madden, Nicole Pollock, Hannah Kraus, Natalie McConomy, Elzienne Anya Cornelia Zomer, Michael McEwen, Sandy Rameljak, Sid Sturgis, Foster Hazen, Enzo Archimone, Lauren Half, Carly Toring, Adriana Shreve, Mackenzie Sims, Anna McMartin, Olivia Saxton, Catherine Davis, Lucy Billingsley, Madison Marshall, Camden Beckstrom, Brett Powells, Gavin Baroni, Ella Suttonberg, Lauren Space, Noah Rubel, Cameron Layson, Caitlin Shaw, Esther Bard, Annika Pearson, Olivia Outbeer, Kennedy Maynard, Caitlin Sienkiewicz, Caroline Robach, Olivia Robach, Alexis Rose, Madeline Howe, Kayla Helfrich, Zachary Schaefer,
Jessica Lytle,
Seth Colderman, Aiden Reggio, Tyler Reggio, Ryan Hamilton, Sara Caballeros, Noel Salome DeWard, Reese Brickner, Ava Shoemaker, Rachel Reamer, Landon Bunnell, Jonathan Deal, Brett Boudreau, Cortland Myard,
Drew Quick,
Geraldine Anderson, Brent Peak, Sierra Schneider, Grace Mamelli, Ashley Skolton, Brandon Greider, David Smith, Mason Denton, Aiden Bunkoski, Matthew Engel, Gracie Erdman, Amaris Lee, Adria Quigley, Galo Lopez Wild, Tayana Hatter, Lauren McElrath, Brian Hartwell, Kylie Carlton, Kayla Myers, Emma Bartnick, Alexander Bratt, Cameron Booth, Madison Katke, Julia Hyde,
Carol Pierce,
Aiden Laboda, Alicia Ozzie, Isabella Baskovich, Derek Woods Jr., James Kent Jr., Devon Pearson, Derek Parker II, Isabel Imes, Trace Hergich, Emma Novak, Gianna Serpico, Annalie Tumanaro, Carl Proudly, Alexis Archambault, McKendrick Bowman, Roshan Fitzpatrick, Morgan Gartland, Caitlin Druding, Madison Weber, Joseph Theed, Jocelyn Bentz, Lily Renfrew, Amanda Palmer, Kellen Reed, Gus Sherland, Jaden Russell, Owen Hoyt, Sophie Wildeman, Grace Connolly, Lily Helsel, Emily No San Par, Justin Miller, Garrett Stack, Luke Gelderks, Aveline Shinky, Grace Morrison, Andrew Laseski, Donovan Ford, Marley Scheidmantel, Claire Vodnick, Sydney Lambrix, Sydney Cakel, Ashley Stevens, Kaya Barnhart, Kylie Collins, Parker Barrow, Jacqueline Engel, Layani Williamson, Maylee Widoff, Mackenzie Smith, Anna Farley, Miranda Smith, Catherine Pratt, Wesley Garnett, Elise Kale, Ethan Ross, Kenny Parks, Chloe Eckert, Taylor Tweet, Liliana Lavita, Megan Frania, Emily Duff, Jessica Erickson, Owen Baum, Cameron Fabian, Madison Moore, Annalisa Migalski, Anna Finolio, Jordan Deckrow, Anthony Strominger, Uzal Rahmani, Raymond Scher,
Brooke Schoenberg,
Lainey Otten, Kelsey Cobb, Geo Jones, Toby Davis, Lily Huss, Alexandria Wunzer, Tyler Hopper, Alyssa Cole, Sydney Stutman, Brianna Rebar, Benjamin Hoyt, Corey Van Hee, Caroline Roberts, Hannah Beecham, Justin Haas, Emmy Lee Miller, Margaret Gonzalez, Megan McNamara, Michaela Wetzel, Elena Mikowski, Kylie McDuffie, Aaron Van Flaren, Christina Aldred, Kira Young, Adam Hodges, Devin Reginaldo, Rayanne Woody, Alyssa Nunneman, Stephanie Vilku, Joshua Hafley, Samantha Bell Brandon, Anna Curry, Danica McCoy, Angelica Angeletta, Gaia Tomazelli, Pablo Coleman Garcia, Cole Oliver, Archer Sagaski, Lucas Chenard, Caden Snyder, Piper Ouvry, Ethan Gould, Scott Minton, Paris Bassett, Michelle Arundella, Lucy Heim, Izzy Smith, Olivia Sefcik, Annika Saruga, Christine Wiesner, Elena Soulier, Eleni Resch, Amar El Taranisi, Matthew Bosch, Lucy Headley, Sara Alvarez Fernandez, Samantha Plow, Emily Riddle, Jocelyn Hradowski, Caitlin Hamzy, Caitlin Rose Burkmeyer, Lila Hale. Caleb Warple.
Carson Kruger.
Grayson McKenzie. Christina Bilko. Joshua Gallagher. Ariana Rodriguez Torres. James Almeida. Jace Carr. Kayla Coates. Bran Hurst. Catherine Elian. Caden St. John.
Megan Matthews.
Benjamin Bruce. Olivia McCaviage. Leah Van Slambrook. Alexa Walls. Jacqueline Tucker. Allison Gallister. Emily Hartwig. Lillian Price. Nova Stain. Julia Gould. Abigail Mazaway. Gabrielle Potempa. Lillian Burton. Hannah Smith. Ryan Martin. Nora Flaherty. Michaela Newcomb. Rebecca DeSouza. Amy Kobaluk. Elizabeth Mooney.
Brenna Williams.
Mia Swartz. Madison Leeper. Paris Henderson. Jack Castle.
Kylie Armos.
Carly Bumgardner. Samantha Wallace. Madeline Thompson. Brooklyn Rizutek. Carmela Padalin. Carissa Fry. Sonia Hansel. Alaya Pinella Escalera. Nayeli Mora. Kayla Boyle. Andy Nampung Johnston.
Samantha Tomure.
Noah Simonite. Riley Lane. Aaron McGee.
Roberto Rojas.
Robert Parsons. Evan McGee. Allison Phillips. Madison Kessman. Sarah Cunningham. Arlie Jarrett. Chelsea Crum. Olivia Brody. Ashley Grace Sly. Natalie Vanata. Corbin Hasselback. Abigail Harrison. Garrett Householder. Sarah Salisbury. Lily June. Ashlyn McLaughlin. Haley Boss. Jack McClure. Brandon Witherspoon.
Tyler Vandermeulen.
Hunter Reed. Troy Conley. Kira Weimer. Taylor White. Christian Heu Palma. Megan Van Dalen. Reese Black. Ella Gustafson. Xander Pellegrino. Lizette Solorio. Jessica Lukens. Owen Smythe. Lucian Forestieri. Nancy Alexandra Martinez. Evelyn Schaub. Kate Crayson. Amber Van Gotham. Sophia Svirid. Rose Pult. Joseph Paganelli. Ian Abbott. Jamie Valkenberg.
Alexandria Clark.
Emily Sinska Winkles. Allie Kolonowski. Evelyn Glaze. Kelsey Maynor. Emily Sanchez. Brandolyn Morris. Landon Bartlett. Victoria Arrow. David Koshar. Colin Hotlin. Connor Lynch. Jacob Fetterly. Macy Kuiper. Jimena Orozco Leon. Hannah Priester. Sarah Chow. Paige Winkler. Jacob Williams. Nathaniel Kuipers.
Marlon Staton.
Solomon Michael Dukes. David Arellano. Riley Bell. Abby Cashel. Danielle Baldwin. Caleb Borkel. Hunter Bogar. Lucas Simpson. Anna Baker. Bridget Rosima. Hayden Freed. Michelle Buss. Eleanor Todd. Molly Boggiano. Kylie Vandenberg. Rayana Sagoon. Hannah Police. Elizabeth Winterbottom. Megan Splan. Lucas MacWebb. Joseph Abraham. Megan Ratio. Michaela Brown. Elise Noonan. Andrea Essmaker. Stella Hewitt. Ava O'Brien. Lauren Anderson. Addison Cook. Emily Ryan. Rebecca Slayton. Sharon Parmer. Addison Witten. Ava Stefanski. Natalie Seitzma. Gabriella White. Lauren Burgess, Jalen Churchill, Anna Carpenter, Grace Truss,
Nahala McCoy,
Unnati Patel, Natalie Rodriguez, Adeline Miller, Mars Bovey,
Chuang Hee Huang,
Lillian Reiner,
Patience Lap,
Elizabeth Yamin, Chloe Spradlin, Celeste Patino, Juniper Higgins, Erob Robb,
Elena Smith, Marin Butke,
Sophia Grilly, Mattie DeMott, Paige Loschultz, Isabella Anderson, Evan Llewellyn, Peyton Wilder, Caleb Stein, Heather Adams, Joshua Maurer, Carly Knebel, Sierra Schneider, Grace Wilson, Piper Woodall, Liam Megan, Jillian Mary Ann Matier, Christian Slatovich, Avery Nice, Jasmine Beebe, Rhiannon Heising, Caleb Lowell, Sophia DeFalco, Grant Rastigue, Michael Sapedi, Caleb Knighting, Alyssa LeCarry, Cole Fayen, Arash Korbacha, Irina Kadantseva, Zachary Yeager, Benjamin Westberg, Sarah Bowes, Shay Woodard, Benjamin Maletta, Kaylee Van Such, Natalie Victoria Haveman, Karis Vianne Gillen, Ava Politi, Riley Kreis, Harika Hebbour, Eleanor Landry, Lauren Palensic, Abigail Kameli, Ellie Sickles, Ashley Martin, Alyssa Wieringa, Emily Rackner, Lauren Polstorfer, Chloe Dabrowski, Jacqueline Rodriguez, Amelia Van Wyck,
Morgan Danielle Davis,
Emma Yonker, Catherine Fay, Carly Roy, Carly Ackerman, Vivian Carmichael, Maya Hacker, Patience Schindel, Bobby Johnson, Elise Chang, Mika Wynn, Rain Bierhorst, Kristen Cook, Kendall Miller, Tessa Kramer, Sarah Rogers, Samuel Rogers, Delina Ramos, Isabella Tyler, Morgan McAvoy, Orion Davis, Jade Velasquez,
Mauricio Marquin,
Emily Acevedo, Ashley Wittenberg, Edgar Cedillo Aguilar, Ashpreet Kaur, Preston Lawrence Sturgis, Paige Klingensmith, Anna Sonnet, Samuel Schwarz, Evan Kazareski, Jalen Charity, Audrey Edwards, Elena Bolster, Molly Smith, Julianne Keats, Regan Decatur, Gianna Randazzo, Camille Bordage, Misael Muniz Lozano, Ryer Adams, Sydney Weiler, Ava Wright, Rebecca Terryberry, Vienna Kenixknecht, Brenna Hayward, Sydney Fiesel, Madison Peak, Julia Gutierrez, Miri Pansar, Gabrielle Yarch, Madeline Paspel, Maya Grant, Brock Wooderson, Kobe Fraser, Kaylee Diamond, Jacob Calkins, Jenna Gill, Cecilia Badalamenti, Abigail Main, Lillian Curtis, Dylan Eaton, Jackson Rembrandt, Elise Abaji, Catherine Miller, Ava Gatto, Sarah Mittag, Madison Stabile, Ashley Starr, Annika Johnson, Lily Sorensen, Suzanne Liston, Nina Orlando, Gabriella Hawley, Elizabeth Oskin, Magenta Cornell, Emily Guyett, Makaya Murray, R. Peyton Beekman, McKenna Locke, Peyton Kerr,
Brooke Stewart,
Chloe Mills, Sydney Delagrange, Ava Meeker, Ava Baker, Grace DiGiorgio, Paige Poulter, Connor Miles, Amelia Loveland, Caitlin Wynn, Remy Grato Talaco, Leah Bentz, Malachi Foster, Nicole Salinas, Jenna Vaisho, Jordan Lorenz, Gabe Jarvis, Emily Pausas, Emma Von Eerden, Anna Greisel, Isabel Helsel,
Brooke Berdage,
Kelly Amante, Ella Gaylord, Esther Lee, Brianna Bexfort, Katie Chitwood, Madeline Armanini, Noah Prysock, Casey Janine Taveras, Marwa Habib, Naida Kubich, Maggie Evans, Shay Hannigan, Summer Keebach, Karina Lepley, Ethan Mell,
Matthew Conniganton,
Peter Lamb, Areli Vega Puente, Jonathan Centeno, Audrey Frollo, Anna Sampier, Paige Voss, Jonathan Fryer, Harry Visnaw, Quincy Brower, Luke Callison, Isabel Rutz, Karen Theakston, Isabella Shane, Cameron Snyder, Logan Gifford, Kendra Jones, Hannah Duran,
Andu Tekla,
Grace Young, Catherine Vincent, Jacob Risho Wooten, Maya Ortiz, Alex Martinez, Gabrielle Jonker, Asia Kerr, Alexander Grumovich, Austin Lincoln, Connor Orlando, Ana Soteras Chenoy, Ada Dennis, Maggie Verbeeren, Faith Hudson, Ellen Carter, Molly Fenn, Alexa Barber, Anna Stang, Haley Norton, Britlyn Veliz, Christina Humbarger, Caitlin Valerie, Raphael Peewee, Emily Wolterink, Maya Love,
Callie Wynn,
Tyler Fink, Morgan Terpstra, Michaela Brossman, Lane Weatherwax, Zachary Amezqua, Anthony Zanders, Richard Finn, Mikey Decatur, Mallory Burt, Zoe Proctor, Kate Woods, Elaine Harris, Zoe Lewis, Claire Sackett, Annalise Racely, Owen Shepard, Cole Simpson, Sasha Coulson, Owen Frasetto, Cruz Alejandro Hamel Peña, Jacqueline Coe, Brittany Pomierski, Jordan Edwards, Arnica Schaefer,
Victoria Fox,
Moshe Sysis, Kendall Boynton, Maria Alminauskas, Hannah Palatka, Kennedy Holmes, Tania Naray Furlow, Sierra Robinson, Azaria Pearson, Juana Miller, Cameron Swickard, Candace Reeves, Rory Bowman, Lily Reed, Christy Weaver, Ryan Flynn, Don Leach, Jacob Swinehart, Sam Donath, Emily Nevin, Michaela Minzy, Dilu Chamlagai, Saturn Billings, Cass Wainwright, Lena Campion, Ava Brownfield, Audrey Morrison, Luis Gallegos Sanchez, Leah LaFontaine, Shanice Collins, Melissa Eager, Kylie Louch, Sierra Moore, Amber Allen, Mohammed Khasma, Gisleni Soto Gil, Penelope Gackenbach, Anastasia Mission, Dayong Zhang, Myra Perez Correa, Isabella Carney, Jaden Householder, James Postal,
Tiela Evans,
Sophia Moltzen, Camille Aper, Samantha Kahn, Nadine West, Alexa Padalon, Elizabeth Champagne, Emily Shea, Jaya Kiana Noel Jones, Justin Horrocks, Caden Jacobs, Zachary Foote, Leah Ryle, Peyton Dobbin, Katrine Biswas, Vinnie Couch, Mason Litz, Nathan King, Benjamin McKim, Taylor Archambault, Natalie First, Kylie Jordan, Caleb Huntsman, Gabriella Markowski, Noah Ledford, Lillian Kiefer, Lucas Shelton, Elizabeth Oldenburg, James Navarro, Olivia Holliday, Aiden Paul Miller, Ryan Morin, Stephen Warner,
Nadia Iradakunda,
Lindsay Dipp,
Ashley Atkins, Ava Schuler, Giselle Rodriguez, Nathan Howell, Brooke Tomlinson, Torian Allen, Alana Jones, Nina West, Tanya Belcher,
Oli Afamlia,
Kathy Viviana Lorca Lopez, Inaya Hakim,
Zaria Shabina,
Huda Ahmad, Noel Robin Katusis, Macarena Ortiz Sosa, Srijan Bohara, Noah Gerhard,
Please join me in congratulating the graduates from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. And let's give another round of applause for all of our graduates. Graduates, you may now be seated. And now, for the playing of our alma mater.
Hail to thee, Grand Valley, with all your steadfast true. Praise our alma mater, we pledge faith to you. GVSU, black and white and blue and blue. We sing to thee, Grand Valley, united we're for GVSU.
In a minute, I will ask you to follow in the time-honored tradition of moving your tassel from right to left. Upon graduation from your first degree, your tassel is placed on the left side of your mortarboard. Graduate students, you may remember doing this when you received your undergraduate degree. So at this time, will all the individuals who've just received their bachelor's degrees please stand? This change appears simple, but it's in fact not a small thing. It's symbolic of semesters of hard work, intellectual curiosity, and your determination to succeed. I hope you feel the joy of your accomplishments as I now ask you, please take your tassel and move it from the right side to the left side of your mortarboard to signify that you are a college graduate. Congratulations. Please be seated.
Graduates, as you leave here today, step into the next chapter with this charge. Let humanity be your North Star. Remember that progress is not measured by what we can do alone, but how it can serve others. Let curiosity drive you, but let ethics guide you. Let innovation inspire you, but let empathy ground you. Let ambition move you, but let purpose define you. Stand confidently at the intersection of disciplines, ideas, and possibilities. Embrace the convergence you are entering, but never lose sight of the fact that people are at the center of it. Congratulations, class of 2026. You are now Lakers for a lifetime.
Graduates, please remain at your place until the platform officials and faculty recess. You will soon be dismissed by row. These commencement proceedings are now concluded.